Hey everybody, Seven here. Thank you so much for joining me in this update to the Planet Crafter. Now, there's a lot to talk about, so I'm going to jump right into it. There's new machines, there's new animals, a new stage to get into, there's a new zone to explore, so there's tons to get into here, so let's get into it. So first off, the thing that I think everybody was most excited about was this new trading system. So you get a message from your friend Riley there, you access it, and you're given this blueprint to make the Space Trader. So the Space Trader is under the base building menu. 3 circuit boards, a rocket, uranium, and a super alloy. So it's not super terrible once you're at the stage of being able to even access the blueprint for it. The resources aren't real over complicated, especially now that we can make circuit boards. We don't have to just find them by tearing them down from the technical components. So this is a doable thing. So what it does is you load it up with some of the more high value targets like the fabric, the various resource rods, the rockets, and more circuit boards. Circuit boards have been my chief export lately, just to try to get the production going along and get the income coming. And you want this income because each one of these items has these new Terra tokens value. So what you do is you load the rocket, or you can actually have the rocket be automated. If you have your drones, you can set the various demands, demand some of the high value items that it has, like it wants uranium rods, iridium rods, stuff like that. So your drones can automatically load this thing up, and then down here you can say, when its inventory is full, automatically launch it. So you can start getting 6 or 8 of these things going, have your drones automatically pulling out all of your refined stuff, having auto crafters making refined stuff, and then you can just have an automated economy going. And you're going to want to do that because some of the numbers that you need for these items get pretty expensive. And here we see we've got not just new buildings, but an entirely new drone. I've played with these. The speed increase is actually pretty noticeable. So I'm going to go to a different world in a minute and show off all this stuff. There's also a new locker, and there's new decorative things like the cooking station from the birthday celebration. You can now have that permanently and permanently make all the items that it can do. There's a new smart fabric, and that goes in with the new sofa and the new bed, and we'll check that out later too. The other big new part of the update is there's now frogs. And similar with when they updated the fish, you can get wild frog eggs just out on the map. So you can see here's one that I already picked up, but you'll see like these strange little frog eggs. They're just little white frog eggs that will spawn in the wild here. There's another good collection of them up on top of the Iridium Cave. When you get the vine that you can climb up there, you can go up there and get some just generic base frog eggs from that place as well. It's a good way to just get you started, because you can also go to the DNA sequencer and you can make your own. So let me get into a different world where I've got a lot of the frog stuff actually laid out, and I've got all the buildings and stuff that we can explore as well. Alright, now here I have delved pretty good into the frog update and played around with all the different various frogs. So there's a number of them with, just like with the butterfly update, they've all got different percentages for how fast they're increasing the animal level for your production and your TI. But beyond that, they're also wildly varied in appearance. And I think these purple and pink ones are the glow-in-the-dark ones. I put one next to my bed upstairs, so yeah, the Aeolus, the 250% one, those guys will glow just neon green once it actually gets dark out. So they go through a pretty interesting color shift that's very cool. And seeing those neon green guys next to the neon pink butterflies in the middle of the night is very, very cool looking. Alright, so let's see if I can catch in the act some of these new drones. Now you can see the difference between the tier 1 and the tier 2 with the number of red dots they have. So there goes a 2, and you can see just how noticeably faster they are. So he's overtaking that tier 1 pretty easily. So these tier 2 drones are quick. I'd say about 50% faster than the tier 1 ones. And just like with the lore and automation that came with the butterflies, that lore and automation update had a location for a golden butterfly. I'm going to go over where the golden frog that is now in the game is also located as well. Like I said, lots to talk about. Oh, and then that's what happens when your rocket lands. So I've got all these rockets that are set to auto, so my drones will be automatically supplying them with various items that I'm making. The automatic inventory full is enabled, so it'll take off on its own, and then you'll get the notification the second it basically reaches your atmosphere. It's not the second it lands, it's the second it reaches your atmosphere and is coming back in for a landing. As you can see, I already purchased all of the new blueprints, so let's go take a tour. That took me a while, by the way. That's why this video is coming out so late, because I was grinding out quite a bit of resources to be able to make the new buildings. And like I said, one was 25,000 credits, one was 15,000, one was 10,000. So there was a lot of blueprints to buy and to unlock, but we'll be able to go through that. And we're also going to need a lot of oxygen for where we're going. All right, so I built a little showcase over here over at the waterfall. And you'll notice that the stacking is a little odd on some of these. So when I went to place the first rounded off one here, it actually stuck and showed the little chain link action, like it was properly linking up to the 3x3 box. So I just said, okay, and slapped it there. When I went to go try to stack the other one, the domed one, on top of it, I flew and I hovered and tried getting around here. It would not link, and it would not show me, you know, the actual properly linked icon that they were attached to each other. So I kind of eyeballed it and I got it a little off. So I wanted to leave that, you know, just to show, like, if you're trying to stack these, that it's going to be on your own eye, that you're going to have to line them up, and it's not super easy. All right, so let's go over the resources for what these things require. Look at the size of this thing. So once you unlock them all by doing all of your crazy selling and buying and everything, the 3x3, not super bad. You know, given the size of it, 3 iron, 3 titanium, and 3 regular super alloy. No rods or anything like that go into it, so that was pretty cool. The rounded off one, same thing, 3 iron, 3 titanium, 3 super alloy. And then, because this one has so much class, this one they replaced the titanium with cobalt. So it makes sense. I mean, a standard window takes cobalt anyway, so, you know, they're keeping on theme with it all. But the size of this thing is incredible. I can definitely see, just because you don't, obviously you can make a base this size with a 1 by 1 by 1 by 1 over and over, but then you get all those archways and doorways and things start looking weird. You get, you know, strange pillar formations kind of in the middle. This is just going to be a completely open dance floor, and I can see a lot of potential for this. This is the 2x2 rounded off, or no, 3x3 rounded off. Very cool looking compartment. I could see this one for a lot of, like, the aesthetics. Like, if you wanted to have a place where you were putting decorative items and maybe the bed that isn't really necessary but still just looks cool. You know, this has a very strong aesthetic feel to it, both inside and out. You can see that because it's got a singular centered port thing, you know, it doesn't naturally come with the doors. I put that door on there, but this would be definitely a good entry for a base or for connectivity because of the way that it would link up with others. This is gorgeous. The glass domed 3x3. Absolutely beautiful this place looks. I filled it up with all of the new stuff. So the oven over here, once you buy the unlock, it's down in the decorations actually, so it's not considered a machine, even though it is a craftable, like it is a crafting station, just like the DNA workshop or, you know, the biolab workstation, something like that. 1 circuit board, 1 super alloy. Costs a whole lot more to unlock it than it does to actually make the thing. So you come over here, and not only do they have everything that was in the birthday update, so you can grow your wheat, grow your chocolate, make the flour, etc. The birthday cake, they've got new items in here. So they've got honey-cooked beans and fish soup. So if you know, harvest up a couple of the eggs or craft the eggs, mix it with honey, you can now make these 2 new food items. And the thing that I absolutely love the most, and this is something that I was really hoping to see in this game, was food items that had, you know, status buffs to them. So the honey-cooked beans over here reduces thirst for a small period. So you'll actually be less ticks down per second on your thirst for a period of time after eating this. That is fantastic. The fish soup, appropriately enough, fish have gills. It reduces your oxygen consumption. These are so cool. The locker tier 2, this is not just a 3 iron locker. The resources for this one were kind of odd and a bit much. 2 super alloys plus a circuit board. And this thing is a TARDIS because it is actually bigger on the inside than it is on the outside. It's got wild graphics to it, like all the digital superimposed stuff. But you open it up, and it is just catastrophically large. Look at the size of this thing. It's like 3 regular lockers. And then we come over to the final decoration items here. We've got the new bed and the new sofa. And you can see as I hover over them, it says change color. So you can actually get the full RGB of any color scheme that you want to have. And you can make it as neon bright, pale. You get the brightness, the color, the saturation, everything. These are way cool. And just fully decorate your house however you want. So these, coupled with the way that the light system works, so as you can make the area lamps and then adjust the color scheme on that, because they all adjust in the exact same way, you can really choreograph your lamp colors with your bed, your sofa, and everything else going on around you. They don't seem to have the sofa angle yet. So if you wanted to build along, especially in the rounded off compartment here, like you wanted to build sofas and then build a couple of the corner sofas and then continue on with the straight ones, you're not going to be able to do the color change on the angled one yet. However, these guys are constantly updating everything, and I would bet money that a cornered angled sofa in color change is definitely going to come. All right, now let's head over to one last area. There's going to be some minor spoilers in this section, so if you made it this far in the video, I've been trying to avoid any kind of real lore and storyline spoilers, but I'm going to be going into a new location that has been updated and added that is a lore location. So we're here in the bottom of the crater. At this stage of the game, the crater has been completely dissolved and has actually been replaced with a frog location and generic frog eggs. And up on the very top of the ridge, you can see in relation to where the center is, where the guy's additional bunker is, because he's the guy that has one underneath and one up on the ledge. Up here, this is a brand new, even more lore added area. I'll hold here for a sec so you can get the coordinates down the bottom left there. This place is loaded with blue chests, and all the blue chests are going to be TI dependent. So you'll find at my stage, I'm finding circuit boards, advanced rods, rocket engines. I was also finding the credits. Well, you can get just credit chips in the blue chest once you're at that stage. So it was cool to get just free credits because I was averaging 400 to 600 per rocket trip, depending on what I was loading with it. So to get 25,000 for this and 15,000 for that and stuff like that, it took me quite a while and quite a bit of up and down with the rockets. So finding some of these chests that had the chips already in them was quite the benefit. There's also a new meteor. You'll sometimes be sitting along and you'll hear one singular, very large, very loud meteor, but it's moving a lot quicker than the quartz meteor does. When that thing hits, you'll find kind of like a little shipping container inside of it, and the whole thing just explodes in chests, and usually you'll find a good chunk of the credits in it, along with some pretty advanced resources as well. But this is a huge waterfall spawned out in the crater area, and from what I understand, it's there from the absolute beginning of the game, so this should be explorable. If you want to burn these blue chests, on an early TI, you can, but this should be explorable from a very early standpoint, and I don't think you actually require the jetpack to get out of here. I think you can actually walk the whole way, but just to be safe, I personally would probably wait until I get jetpack, just to make it a little bit safer to get through here. Or to get out, So there's kind of like a little underground river action here. Uh, several more chests along the way. Another frog location. And from here, you have to swim. So when you're exploring this, make sure you're bringing oxygen bottles, because even though we're in the oxygen breathable atmosphere stage, we're going to have a bit of a trip here. All right, so like I said, there's minor spoilers ahead because I am going to be going through a new lore area, but I'm not going to actually read any of it. So come to the center of it, and it goes down a ways. Like I said, make sure you've got oxygen tanks for this because you're going to be swimming for a bit. And with the update that they had, it didn't seem to add a whole ton, but they added up an update where you do actually use oxygen underwater. And this place is wild. So you start getting along and you'll find this archway. Now, minor spoilers, like I said, this is a new warden location. And they've got, the obvious warden tablets here too. Eventually you'll come to a very long, impressive staircase, and it's up here that we have what I think is the coolest part of the new update. So here you'll see that I'm jumping and not flying. That's always the telltale sign that you're in a warden area because the jetpack doesn't work anymore. Now I suppose you could use the coordinates down at the bottom because it is open air at the top. So I suppose you could probably fly along the outside of it to get yourself to drop down in, but they've got more lore in here, and this is where the Golden Frog location is as well. So after coming up the stairs, you see the main little pedestal for the lore location. Come off to the right over here, and you'll see this little, kind of like a reflecting pool kind of thing, and this is where I found the Golden Frog eggs. I'm not sure if they're craftable. I think the golden butterflies did eventually get craftable, kind of as an RNG thing. Like you had to put in one of the higher end, like the pink recipe, I think it was, and then you might get the golden ones. I think that's how that worked out. But yeah, so you are going to be guaranteed to get at least one golden frog, and they do a pretty good percentage as well. And this pool, like I said, is just like a little kind of reflecting pool. It doesn't actually go anywhere. It's not any more, additional secrets or anything like that. And just like with the butterfly area, there is no immediate escape. So it's kind of a one-way trip. So once you get down here and you get, all of the lore stuff, you get your gold frogs, the only way to get back out is to go all the way through, all the way back, and then swim back up to the top. I don't imagine people having too hard of a time navigating this, as, if you're keeping an eye up on the ceiling, you'll be able to see more or less where you are. But like I said, if you're going to be reading the lore, make sure that you are bringing in oxygen canisters, because your air will be going down while you're reading. Yeah, and then this is where I had accidentally overshot, and you'll see that there's nothing above me, so I got a little bit panicked, and then, it took me a sec to realize that, oh, I was actually fine. Now, one last thing. They adjusted the no man's land. So you know how before, when you started wandering off in a direction that the game kind of didn't really want you to, it would just get a perfectly barren, flat nothing of desert. You can see we're already outside the map. You can tell because there's no grass and there's no resources on the ground, save for that one little larva. That's how they always designated the end of the map, was if there's nothing on the ground, then you're outside the play area, essentially. If you continue to go outside the play area, eventually everything gets really orange and foggy, and your visibility turns to garbage. But they've added this absolutely massive ocean out here now. And these guys never do anything for no reason. So I can't help but wonder what's going to come out this way. Because they're going to add this huge, massive ocean. Is that to indicate that, yeah, you can see that the visibility's starting to get bad because they're getting grumpy with me for being out this far. And the water's getting a little weird too. But if they're going to add a massive ocean like this, I remember when that huge pillar of the waterfall came in, you just knew that there was going to be something there. And then they updated it and added the cave behind it and everything. So this is not a developer that just adds things in willy-nilly for no reason. Everything has a purpose with this. All right, so there we are. Massive new update. We've got frogs, we've got golden frogs already. We've got color-changing furniture and new decorations. The crafting station that everybody just absolutely fell in love with is now back with 2 new recipes. We've got new buildings to build. So what's your favorite aspect about the new update? This game is getting big, and every time a new update like this drops, I'm just that much more excited to see what the final product and the finished actual game is going to be. I'm absolutely in love with this game, and I love these developers too. I think it started off as just a married couple, and I think they've added like 1 or 2 other programmers, so it's still incredibly small. But for 2 people to have made this, it's just amazing. Anyway, this is Seven. Thank you so much for joining me in this update for the Planet Crafter, and hope to see you in the next video. Bye, guys.